Saturday night against a average, am I being kind, Arizona team, and the Flyers lose that game. I thought they dominated. They just couldn't get one past Mike Smith the other night.
Yeah, Mike Smith was absolutely phenomenal for the Coyotes on Saturday night. The Flyers road trip, could have been a little bit better. That Columbus game was, to me, probably the worst of it. They go up 2-0, and they're 64 seconds away from winning that game, and all of a sudden give it back. I think the team sounds like they are happy with the effort level of Saturday night, even though the result wasn't what they wanted. And it throws a little bit of a wrench into things, the way Claude Giroux got hit there, as you heard in Sports Center. But he will play tonight, so the Flyers aren't feeling too bad about themselves. But you're right; that's probably a game that they should have won.
I guess the only reason for saying all right is that Detroit lost, and that the Flyers are going to lose games down the stretch. I mean, it's just inevitable. You're not going to win every single game. I guess they're getting some of the hiccups out of the way, but they're going to have to start winning games like the one tonight. This game tonight is very important, and I guess the easy question is Steve Mason's back in goal, correct?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's only three ways that Anthony Stolarz gets into a game at this point, if I'm reading things correctly. It's either the Flyers get eliminated, the Flyers clinch a spot, or one of Steve Mason's legs falls off. Other than that, I can't see Anthony Stolarz getting a start here.
Well, and Dave Haxtell had said he will play. I know Cote was on with us last week and said the same thing, that they have told him he's going to play, but is that just getting him ready? I mean, are they just giving some lip service?
I don't know about lip service, but I think they're just trying to keep him ready. And I assume that, one of those three things will happen before April 10th when the season expires. If it goes down to the wire, then the Flyers, will be particularly taxed heading into the postseason if that is the case for them. But, yeah, I think he gets a game. I just think one of those three things has to happen first.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, what is Neuvirth's status? Would he be available if they make the playoffs at some point?
My understanding is yes, he will be available if the Flyers do make the playoffs. But he won't be able to go for any of the remaining games in the regular season.
All right, Dave Isaac's with us here at Dave G. Isaac on Twitter. Flyers and the Jets tonight. You can listen to the game on 97.3 ESPN. We know the Flyers have that game at hand, Dave, but of the two teams, who has an easier path to the end of the season?
Well, I mean, I think the Flyers do to a certain extent, but you've seen the way that they've played this season. Nothing comes easily to them, except for maybe playing against some of the top teams. For whatever reason, they really come to play when the big boys are in town or when they're visiting their barns. But for whatever reason, the Flyers seem to have a little bit of trouble with some of the teams beneath them in the standings. They thought that they had remedied that situation at probably about the midway, the maybe three-quarter point of the season, maybe two-thirds point, but it still gives them trouble. This time of year, everybody's playing hard. Either you're trying to play spoiler or you're jockeying for position in the playoffs. So none of them are gimmies, but the Flyers do have Toronto on their schedule. The Flyers do have a Detroit team that seems pretty fragile right now on their schedule. The Islanders are going to be tough. Pittsburgh twice is going to be tough. Ottawa has given the Flyers some trouble. That's a team that's not going to be in playoff contention, though. So, I'm not sure how much of all that really matters.
Well, and Winnipeg was eliminated from the playoff contention Saturday as well. Not that they were legitimate, but they are now done. You would think that both Buffalo, who plays Detroit tonight, and Winnipeg, these are both very winnable games. So if one of them gets a win tonight, that's a big leg up, as the Flyers still have that game at hand. But this is almost a game they have to have.
Yeah, I agree. I think it drastically changes things if the Flyers end up losing tonight in regulation and Detroit beats Buffalo. I think that makes it a really tough hill to climb, even though the Flyers do have that game in hand, and they do have one more game against Detroit. This is one that the Flyers, you're absolutely right. They really need this game tonight.
Dave, that they do play Detroit on that Wednesday, the final week of the year. I mean, it could be a situation where the winner of that game realistically claims that final playoff spot.
Yeah, absolutely. And when the going's gotten tough for the Flyers, they've come up pretty good. They may need a situation like that to bring them up, but if they can take care of business before then, I mean, I don't know what would exactly have to happen for them to clinch before Wednesday. I don't know that that's likely, but I think, this is a game that can put them in a very good spot so that they don't have to have that happen next Wednesday.
Yeah, and of course they have that makeup game that Sunday night against the Islanders, and you wonder if having that in their back pocket will help them or hurt them.
Well, the Islanders are another team that's jockeying for position as well. I think they're 4 points ahead of the Flyers at the moment, but things can change rather quickly, as the Flyers have learned. So that's going to be an important game for both of those teams, I think.
Dave Isaac's with us. The Flyers tonight against the Winnipeg Jets here, and obviously all these games down the stretch very, very important. You saw Claude Giroux; he will play. He seemed okay. Everything. I know he took a pretty nasty spill there the other night, but he's fine. But did he seem like he was ready to go?
Yeah, it was an optional skate this morning, and he took the option. He was sitting on the bench watching instead of skating, but many other players did the same thing. So it's tough to really think of that as a reflection on his status, but he will play tonight. He said that, the coach said that, so we'll see how he looks tonight.
This might sound like an odd question, but it's a rookie coach coming from college, but his MO has been that the teams have gotten better down the stretch. Does he actually help them down the stretch with his, ability to get teams to play better? Do you think that he is a positive for them in this late run? I mean, they've played really well down the stretch here. I guess you got to give him some credit.
Oh, absolutely. He deserves some credit. And I don't know how much of their recent play being very good can be attributed to him. But I think he has done a very good job of monitoring the energy levels for his players. They have a bunch of back-to-backs, the Flyers do. I think out of their final 15 games, they had 6 back-to-backs or something like that. He's done a pretty good job of managing things. Yesterday was a day off. The Flyers ended up staying over in Arizona. Typically they will leave on the night of the game, but just to get everybody's sleep schedule a little bit regulated, they spent the night there and flew the next local time yesterday at about 3:30. That's one of those moves where it's like, let's just do what's more comfortable instead of trying to get on the ice and work on things and stuff like that. And today being an optional, I think you're going to see a lot more of that next week and a half.
Monday, Wednesday, Saturday this week, and then a back-to-back Sunday, that Ottawa-Pittsburgh coming up for the weekend here. So the Flyers tonight, Wednesday, they have a couple days off before that final week where they play virtually. They're going to have to win almost 4 out of 5 on that last week there. Dave Isaac's got more at Dave G. Isaac, Courier Post Online.com for tonight's Flyers Jets information. Thanks, pal.
Thanks for having me.